It's October 21st. This is episode 7 of the MBA show.
Okay,
Let's jump right into our headlines.
let's kick it off with some headlines.
INSEAD creates a bond for student loans.
So this is very cool. So INSEAD is working with Prodigy Financial, and they're actually packaging together a bunch of student loans and going to resell it to investors as a bond.
Wait, so if I'm a student, I can get a loan, and that's... Give me some more details about how this works.
So rather than going to a bank in INSEAD, you're going to be able to actually go to the school and get this loan that is paid for by individual investors at the school. And if you're an alumni, you can buy a piece of this loan to help fund MBA students in their education and get the return of them paying their loans back.
So if I'm an investor, I give my money to the school, they give it to students, and when the students pay, it comes back to me.
Comes back to you.
Okay, so how is this good for MBA students at all?
So INSEAD's an international school.
Yeah.
And so international students have a lot of trouble getting loans. They get them at really, really expensive rates.
And I know that's been a problem at Sloan, at Harvard, at a bunch of schools.
At all kinds of schools. So this is a way for international students to get funded without having to go through a banking system.
That sounds awesome.
So this is, for schools that have the brand to be able to do this,
Yeah.
I think this is great. Like, if you can afford to be able to say an alumni want to buy into
Yeah.
loans, like you've got another way to raise money for your students.
Well, what if you're a school that why does the brand even matter?
Well, because if you're an investor, you're buying the future earnings stream of these students and their ability to pay back.
So if I'm a school that doesn't have the brand, is this bad for me?
I would say this is yet another reason why schools that don't have the brand are going to have trouble competing. It's going to make the rich schools richer, frankly.
Okay.
And I think the poor schools poorer.
All right. Wow. Okay, that's a huge takeaway there. So wait a second. I feel like I've heard this before somewhere. So like you're saying we create a new asset class out of some collateralized something or other with a derivative, and somehow that's going to lead to profit. And so it sounds like the downfall of the economy.
So maybe you've heard this before. And we actually had the team over at the MBA show graphics
I didn't
office
even know about this.
put together an analysis of what's going on here. So over the last 20 years,
really
you can see up here we've had many more MBAs entering the U.S. economy. Those MBAs have been creating all new kinds of interesting, high-fangled securities, such as this INSEAD bond loan. Now, what happens when they create those securities?
All right.
That has led to the massive near collapse
Let me hold that for you.
of the entire global financial system.
All right.
From the massive collapse, we have got widespread unemployment. Now, what happens when you create widespread unemployment? You create more interest in going back to school, which in turn creates more
Yes,
MBAs.
I knew that it was going to come to
In the end,
profit. Profit. Woo!
Profit.
Actually, this brings us to our next jargon. I noticed you used a word in there I wasn't familiar with. What is the word tranche?
So often misspelled, the word tranche refers to when you take a bunch of loans together and sell off different pieces of risk. Tom, I believe our camera is down.
So a tranche, then, it sounds like a tranche is the group of students that we are selling the loan to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So a tranche is actually a layer of risk. So you take all the loans and you basically order everyone in order to see who gets paid back first, second, third as the money comes in.
Got it.
The highest tranche has the least risk and the lowest return, and the lowest tranche is the most risk.
Awesome. So let's do it. Why don't you do our next headline?
So this is part of a new segment that we've put together, How Not to Stink.
So this is part of an email that actually came to our attention from John Kramer, HBS student, sent us a link on Gawker, and the headline on Gawker was, Columbia students must be reminded to bathe. Tell me a little bit about that. That sounds a little inflammatory.
That's right. The Investment Banking Association at Columbia sent out an email to all of their members.
Allegedly.
No, this is for real. Sent it out, and based on actual specific complaints that they had received. And here's what they had to say to students in that email.
Give me a couple things from the email.
Bullet point 1, brush your teeth regularly or have mint mouth refreshers before going to recruiting events. Avoid chewing gums. Carry antiperspirant if you're worried about sweating. Do not wear too much cologne or perfume. Keep professional haircuts.
That's good advice.
Don't bring a backpack with you into a job interview when you're wearing a suit.
Okay.
And for men, no tacky cufflinks or watches. no crazy patterns. Silver, they explain, is preferable to gold.
For watches?
For cufflinks.
So this is the point in this email where I decided this is written by a female author.
So, so the next one, which was they told women, and this is a direct quote: if it rains, do not show up in rain boots, no matter how cute you think they are. And that was the moment at which I decided that a woman had probably written this piece of advice. So I think this is ridiculous. No one should have to be told to bathe properly before going to a job interview.
But so it feels a little bit ridiculous, but I feel like this is a good lesson because looks matter. At the end of the day, when you go into a job interview, how you appear, how you carry yourself, that sends a message, and you want whoever's watching you to get that message.
And I'm not saying that looks don't matter. What I'm saying is, this is to my advantage. If I know how to dress properly, I can be, the one who looks good in an interview. What do I care if someone else doesn't know how to dress?
Well, I think you need to match the image that you're trying to send to that company. And I cite actually rule number 1 that we established last week, which is the campfire interview. When you go into a job interview, you're not just representing yourself, you're actually representing the school. So you want to think about the image that you're sending and think about how that is going to reflect upon your school.
Okay. So maybe that means that...
That actually brings us to a new segment here. Rule number 2, which is looks matter.
And so I've decided that perhaps, Tom, it's time for me to class up the joint here a little bit. You might notice I usually wear t-shirts, and I think it's time for me to step it up a notch.
What is this that you've got on here? Does that say Uno?
So maybe if I'm not going to a job interview at Uno's, I should take the Uno's pin.
Yeah, if it's Domino's.
off of my tie. So does that mean I have to dress like this, Tom?
No, well, I think you have the t-shirt look going for you, and I don't think you necessarily need to shut down the t-shirt so much, but it's more, you just need to stop hoping for a job at an investment bank, maybe.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm looking to go work at a tech company, and so
this would be appropriate maybe for a job interview at a tech company.
Well, not this part, but the look that I'm going for is hipster douchebag, so I'm hopeful that I've pulled that off.
All right, so what is our business school tip of the week?
Tom, this comes from you. This is about all of those business cards that you receive as part of your MBA education.
Everybody has this problem. You go to a networking event or something, they give you a business card, you have no idea what you're going to do with that card. Here, I have developed the perfect system for handling business cards at networking events. And here's how it works. Somebody gives you a business card, you immediately write down on the back of it, as soon as you're out of there, you write down on the back of it who they are, where you found them, so you don't forget it. Then you go home and you throw those into a giant stack on your table. That's the system.
So you don't order them at all?
Actually, no, what may appear to the uneducated observer as an unordered system is actually a very carefully, chronologically ordered system because the cards that I get most recently will be on the top of the stack.
So if you need to find someone, what do you do?
So actually it works really well. I actually need to use it yesterday. If I need to find somebody, I just go through the top, let's say I remember I met them in the last week. Well, I know it's going to be, in like the top inch or so of my business card stack. So I go through the stack until I find them, and then I pull that out and I've got it. And I should say that this system, as perfect as it is, has but one weakness, which is your wife will complain about the stack of business cards growing on your table. But if you want to, have access to the perfect system, you're going to have to be able to put up with something like that.
Sacrifices are necessary.
Exactly, sacrifice.
Tom, what's on your radar for this
weekend?
What's
on my radar?
Yep.
I am taking an improv class, and so you can look forward to some improv antics from me later.
Well, how ironic. So on my radars, I am actually taking putting together a small student reading of Macbeth. So after this, I will be involved in a sword fight in just about an hour and a half.
All right.
Come see.
I'm the real Tom Rose.
I'm Miro Kaz. Thank you so much.
You've been watching
the MBA Show.